Direction of self-knowledge. Is not the very urgency of change a part of the movement of desire? If so, what is the nature of the first step? I hope you don't mind if I read it first. Without the operation of desire and will, how does one move in the direction of self-knowledge? Is not the very urgency of change a part of the movement of desire? If so, what is the nature of the first step? That is, the questioner is asking, is desire and will necessary or required to understand the depth of self-knowledge? Is not the desire itself a movement towards self-knowing? That is the question. First of all, to understand this question, not only superficially, but also at depth, we must understand the nature of desire and will, and the structure and the nature of self-knowledge, knowing. You understand? First, desire, will, and what does it mean if there is no desire? The movement of self-knowledge. If one has not the urge, which is part of desire and will, how can this flowering take place in knowing oneself? Right? That is the question. Oh, it's hot. As we went into the question the other day, what is desire? And what is the relationship of desire to will? Desire is, I'll go into it very carefully, you have probably heard it 10 times, but please don't get bored with it, but look at it. How does desire come into being? One can see actually perceptions, visual seeing, contact, touching, sensation. Right? Then thought comes, creates an image out of that sensation, and desire is born. Right? I'm not an oracle. Delphi has gone long ago. But you can see this for yourself. You can see for yourself when you watch through a window a dress or a shirt, especially a blue shirt, and the seeing, entering into the shop, touching it, the material, then the sensation, then thought comes along and says, how nice it would be if I had that shirt or that dress, creates the image, right? You having the blue shirt and putting it on, or the dress, and that moment desire arises. Is this somewhat clear? No, please, clear to yourself, not understanding the explanation. This is the movement of perception, contact, sensation. That's natural, healthy. Then thought creates the image, you sitting in the car and driving it. When thought takes possession of sensation, creates the image, then desire is born. Right? And will is the summation of desire. The strengthening of desire, the stability of desire, the urge to achieve, the urge to express one's desire and acquire, which is the operation of desire, but strengthened as will, right? So desire and will go together, right? Well, and the questioner asks, if there is no desire of will, why should one seek self-knowledge? What is self-knowledge? Let's examine that first. What is self-knowledge? That is, the ancient Greeks and the ancient Hindus talked about knowing yourself. It's as old as the hills that Socrates and others in Greece and in India talked about knowing yourself. What does it mean to know yourself? Can you ever know yourself? I'm exploring together. You are doing this together. What is the self? And you must know about it. You understand my question? What is the self that apparently it is necessary to know it? Now, what do we mean by the word know? Sorry to be so careful about this. Otherwise we will be misleading each other if we do not understand the words. What do we mean by know? I know Gstaad because I've been there for 22 years. I know you because I've seen you here for 20 years or more. I don't know why, but you're there. And I'm here. And when we say I know, we mean by that not only recognition, but also the remembrance of the face, the name. Right? Which means recognition, remembrance, and association. Or rather, association, remembrance, which is, I met you yesterday, I've recognized you today, that is the memory operating. So when I say I know, it is the past expressing itself in the present. I hope you're following all this. Does it interest you all this? So the past is the movement of knowledge. Right? I study, go to college, one goes to school, college, university, acquire a great deal of information. Then I say I'm a chemist or a physicist and so on and so on. So we say, when we say one must know oneself, do you come to that knowledge about the self afresh, or do you approach it already having knowledge about it? You see the difference? You understand my question? Oh, am I making it difficult? No. That is, I want to know myself. Do I approach myself through the knowledge I've acquired, which is, I've studied psychology, I've been to psychotherapists, and I've read a great deal, and I approach the understanding of the self through the knowledge I've acquired. Then, or do I come to it without all the previous accumulation knowledge about oneself, right? You understand the question? We have explained what is desire, what is will, and saying, and when we say I must know about myself, I am already acquainted with myself. And so this acquaintance, this knowledge dictates how I have observed myself. Right? It's very important if you want to go into this carefully. So having previous knowledge about myself, I use that knowledge to understand myself, which becomes silly. Right? It's absurd, which is I've understood about myself from the knowledge of others. Freud, Jung, all the rest of it. The modern psychologists and so on. So, can I, please listen, can I put aside all that knowledge? Because I am looking at myself through other people's eyes. Therefore, can I put all that aside and look at myself afresh, anew. You understood? Now, the question asks, is desire will necessary in observing myself? Right? Now see what happens. I have acquired knowledge about myself through others, and the actual fact what I am. You see the difference? The knowledge I have acquired through study about myself, and the fact of myself, what it actually is. Right? So there is a contradiction between what is and what I have acquired. This contradiction, to overcome this contradiction, you exercise will. I got it. You understood this? How morbid. You've understood that? And I have studied, one has studied, I have not. I have not studied any of these things, thank God. One has studied, let us say, the latest psychologist, the latest, what do they call them? Psychotherapist. And went to him, talked with him, discussed, and he gives me certain knowledge about me, about myself, and I acquire that knowledge, take it home, and discover that knowledge is different from me. And then begins the conflict to adjust what is to what I have been told. Then the conflict, in that conflict, to suppress it, to overcome it, to accept it, I must, the desire and will comes into being. Then it comes. Is this clear? So that is the question. Now we are saying, is will and desire necessary at home? It only comes into being when I have to adjust myself to a pattern. To a pattern of the guru or the stuff. And then the struggle, the conflict, to overcome, to control, all that begins. Right? I'm a seeker. You understand? I'm a seeker, which is I'm questioning. Therefore, in my questioning, I reject all that. I reject completely what others have told me about myself. Will you do it? You will. Because you won't do it because it is much safer to accept authority. Then you are secure. Whereas if you reject completely all that authority of everything, you don't become a follower, you don't become a disciple. You are absolutely out of that field altogether. Then, how do you observe the self? The movement of the self. The self ambitions, greed, romanticism, all that, how do you observe? Which means, can I observe this movement of the self, the me, the desires, the fears, all that? Can I observe it without any knowledge acquired from others or the previous knowledge which I have had in examining myself? So that's concrete. You understand what I'm saying? I'll show you something. One of the activities of the self is greed, right? Or comparison, comparing myself with another. That is the activity of the self. Now, when I use the word greed, I've already associated that reaction or that reflex with a memory which I've had of that reaction previously. You understand what I'm saying? I'm greedy. I use the word greed to identify that sensation. The identification of that is, I've already known it. So I use that word to identify it. Right? So can I look at that reaction without the word, and therefore without the previous acquaintance with it? You're following this? Am I making this clear? Huh? Can I look at that reaction without a single movement of recognition? Moment that recognition takes place, I've already strengthened that reaction because I recognize it and take it back into my memory. You're following? Now, can I observe myself without any direction, without any comparison, which is I've had this before, follow? Just to observe without direction and therefore without motive. That is learning about yourself afresh each time. Not that you have accumulated knowledge about yourself and you know about yourself. If you go into it very, very seriously into this question, you will find that it is not little by little by little. First step, second step, third step, first initiation, second initiation. But to see the truth of this instant, you understand? To see the truth that the moment recognition takes place, you are not knowing yourself at all. That requires a great deal of attention. And most of us are so slack, so lazy. We've got all kinds of ideas that we must be this, we must be that, we must not be this. So we come to it with tremendous burden. And so we never know ourselves. That is, to put it differently, as we said the other day, we are the rest of mankind. But mankind, whether they live in Asia, here or in America, suffer, go through a great deal of anxiety, uncertainty, sorrow. So we go through it, each one of us. So we are essentially the common human kind. Psychologically, you may be tall, you may be short, I'm not talking about it. Psychologically, we are like the rest of humanity. So we are humanity. And what is there to know about myself? You understand my question? I am all that. That's a fact. Then the problem arises, can that content of my consciousness be wiped away? That is the learning about oneself, which is not yourself, but the consciousness of mankind. I wonder if you're meeting on this. No. See, we are so trained, we are so conditioned to an individuality. I am psychologically different from another, which is not a fact. So we are so trained, conditioned, we accept it. And so when we say I must know myself, we are saying I must know my little self. And when you investigate that little self, there is nothing. But when the actual truth is that we are mankind, we are the rest of humanity. And to inquire into this enormous, complex human mind is to read the story of yourself. Your history. You understand? It is story. And there, if you know how to read the book, it's finished. But we come to it to read. We come to the book with knowledge. We don't say I know nothing. Let's read the book. Then you learn vastly, not accumulate knowledge, because you understand what I mean? So begin to find out the nature of yourself, which is mankind, and the nature of this consciousness, which is the consciousness of all human beings, and inquire into that. So we are saying that the problem, question, the answer to the question is in the question itself. Is that correct? You see that? One realizes deeply the importance of awareness of one's inner and outer actions. Yet one slips into inattention so easily. Must there be a Krishnamurti, the books, the cassettes to keep us alert? Why? Why this gap between understanding and immediate action? I'll read it again if I may. One realizes deeply the importance of awareness of one's inner and outer actions. Yet one slips into inattention so very easily. Must there be a K, the books, the cassettes, keep us alert? Why? Why this gap between understanding and immediate action? Right? Have I understood the question? Why is inattention so easy, so common? Is taking place all the time. And to be aware of what is happening inside the skin and what is happening outside the skin. Sorry to use that word. And must there be somebody to remind you of it? Right? That's the question. Clothes don't make a man. Right? By putting on good clothes, you don't become a man. By putting on robes, monks, you don't become a saint. So either, let's see very carefully, either the clothes remind you that you must be constantly aware, then you depend on the clothes. Whether the clothes be some kind of medicine, an important. Or without this outer wall, can one be aware? shirt which is most uncomfortable. A robe that irritates you, so that you're constantly reminded to be aware. So, let's find out what it means to be aware. We can't know everything that's happening in the world. What the politicians are doing, what the secret service is doing, what the army is doing, what the scientists who are helping the army, the government are doing. We don't know what your neighbor is doing, nor what your wife or husband is doing inwardly. So we can't know everything. But we can know or become aware of this movement inward. Now, is that movement different from the outer movement? You must be very clear on this point. Is that which is outside, the pollution, the corruption, the chicanery, the deception, the hypocrisy, violence, is that very different from us, from each one of us? Or it's a movement out and a movement in? Right? It's a constant movement, like the tide going in and out. Can one be aware of this movement? Aware being know, recognize, see, observe. Or in the very process of observation, this flow, this unitary movement, take choice in it, make choice in this movement. I like this, I don't like that. I am a subject to Britain and I like to be British. Or a Swiss citizen. It gives me a passport, I can travel all over the world. So, in this movement, is the awareness based on choice, the observation. You following all this? Watch it, as you are sitting there, would you, if I may suggest, would you watch it? Aware. And if you are, your reactions are so quick. Say, I better have that, not that. Right? So can you observe this movement, which is you and the world is you, this movement, can you observe without any choice? That observation is awareness, which you don't have to cultivate, which you don't have somebody to remind you of it. Books, tapes, and all the rest of it. Once you see for yourself the truth that this movement out there and the movement in here are essentially similar. They may vary a little bit here and there, but it is the same movement that has created the world the society, the army, the navy, the scientist, the politician. That movement is you. And can you seriously not deceive yourself? That's no fun. If you want to deceive yourself, you're welcome. But it doesn't lead anywhere. But if you want to go into it very, very deeply, awareness without choice and the observation of this movement without any direction, that requires not compulsive, lopsided, neurotic awareness, saying I'm aware, I'm fully aware, and you know jolly well he is not, because you see by his actions, by his attitude, by his values, he's already lives in the illusion that he's aware. One has to be extremely watchful. And naturally, that attention, awareness cannot be constant. Cannot be. But to know it is not constant. You following this? To be aware that it is not constant is to be aware of inattention. Do you understand what? I don't know what I've said, but I'll come back to it. It is to be aware of inattention is attention. Right? And as one cannot reasonably, sanely say, I'm going to be alert from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep. You can't. Unless you're a neurotic. Unless you have practiced and said, yes, I'm going to be aware, then it becomes words, it's no meaning. But if you see that this attention, awareness cannot be maintained all the time, which is a fact, then inattention, not being attentive, has its value, has its meaning. Because in inattention you discover that you're not attentive. You've got it? Good. And the questioner says, why is there a gap between understanding and immediate action? What do we mean by understanding? I understand that communist world, Russia has entered Afghanistan. I understand that. I understand what terrible thing they have done. Not only Russia, but all countries have done this. And the present state in Afghanistan is terrible. I understand it. What has been the cause? Desire to expand, dominate, and so on. I understand it. Somebody explains this nature and the structure of the atom I listen carefully. I say, yes, I understand what you're saying. I listen to some philosopher. I listen to some philosopher and I say, yes, I understand the structure of your words and theories. That is, all that is intellectual discernment. Right? That's the perfect function of the intellect.